I just want to do God's will.
The kind of revolution that the world needs is a Christian revolution.
If you want a miracle, you've got to expect it to happen.
You are the recipients of God's grace and God's blessings, and you rejoice in that reality.
Welcome to Life Today Live. I'm Randy Robinson. Great to have you here. I'm excited to show you a new film that opens up this coming Friday, October 17th, in theaters. It's called Truth and Treason, and it is a World War II film. It is a true story, and I love this kind of thing, especially when it comes together and it looks as great as this one does. And I've got a couple of key gentlemen who put this film together, made it happen. And so you're going to get a little bit behind the scenes today. But before we dive into that, let me show you for the trailer for the upcoming film, Truth and Treason.
Here you are, accused of high treason.
Why? Because of a Jew? Because they took my friend.
Now the truth has come to light.
We believe in being subject to our Führer, in obeying the current laws of the Reich.
There it is. Jew.
What do we do?
We do what we can. You just have to take the first step.
Do you mind if I borrow the typewriter?
Hitler's halo has fallen. See the little man for what he is. A murderous charlatan.
Can you keep a secret?
Where'd you get this?
Found it. Found it where? In my typewriter. When the moment comes for us to stand up, may we stand.
I saw what was on that paper.
No one is safe. Not you. Not your family.
Careful, you never know who's watching.
I'm looking at a red leaflet which calls the Fuhrer the great deceiver of the people. Let's not drag this out.
You're trying to get us all killed.
The people deserve the truth.
Shut your mouth!
We can change things.
I was only telling the truth.
Love is what we're made of.
Remember me.
That is Truth and Treason. Again, in theaters this Friday, October 17th. You can go to angel.com, find out where it's playing. And wow, I mean, yeah, it looks really good. I'm excited because I have producer Russ Kendall with me, and he's going to give you a little insight into the story. Russ, welcome to Life Today Live. Great to have you on the program.
Hey, thanks, Randy. Appreciate being here.
So where did this even come from? I mean, I'm always amazed when, you hear a story that you've just never even heard before, because you feel like we've heard so many great stories, but where did this one come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. Matt Whitaker, the director of the film, he was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Karl-Heinz Schnibbe. At the time, he was in his late 70s, learned that he lived up in Salt Lake, and he was the last surviving member of this teenage Nazi resistance group. And, Matt ended up doing, long story short, a PBS documentary about this group, their resistance, their stand against Hitler as teenagers. And through the process, when he was editing, decided, this needs to be, told in a cinematic way, not just on a PBS documentary, but on a wider scale. And so he was a gifted, he was a writer as well. And so Matt started writing the screenplay and called me up almost 20 years ago. It was December of 2005. We've been, colleagues for a number of years before that. And he said, Russ, would you produce this? And at that point, I was familiar with the story, and I'm like, I would be honored. So it started a 20-year journey.
I was going to say, people don't realize that these projects sometimes take a long time to make. What did you win your Emmy for? I don't have that in my notes.
Yeah, actually a couple of them. Received a writing Emmy for a film called Winter Thaw. It was based off a Leo Tolstoy short story, often called The Cobbler, and it starred John Rhys Davies from Lord of the Rings and Indiana Jones. Produced that, and then I wrote it. And then a music series called "The Song That Changed My Life." For a couple of the episodes on that, Emmy nominations.
No, well, congratulations, and I bring that
Thanks.
up one to let people know that you're established in the business. You've done a lot of great work. What made you want to do this one?
This story in particular?
Yeah, Truth and Treason.
Yeah. Um, like I said, I became familiar with the story through Matt, and there's a couple books written by the two young men that were part of this resistance group that lived to an old age, and read these stories, and I was just blown away that these were teenagers. Like you said, there's a lot of stories out there about World War II, and often it's out on the battlefronts and heroic things and courageous things that happen there, or more well-known resistance, whether it's Bonhoeffer or von Stauffenberg. But to learn of teenagers, we haven't really seen that. I mean, there were Swing Kids,
Yeah,
over 20, great movie, but it's not known now to this generation. And so just really taken by what these kids did. But deeper than that, it was, what would I do if I was in that situation? I think, and again, this was 20 years ago when I was looking at this, and asking myself, it was, of course I would stand up. Of course,
Yeah,
it was, good and bad, and it's very clear cut. But I start having kids and more responsibilities and things, and you start looking at, okay, if I really was in these situations where I needed to stand up and follow my convictions, when the price might be my life, it might be my job, it might be the safety of my family and my kids, my loved ones, what do I do then? Do I still stand up for truth? And I'd like to think that I would. And it's been interesting over this journey of 20 years, and it's been a journey. It's been a roller coaster. How timely it is that this film's coming out now. Yeah. I think it's a time where, what is truth, and where do we find it? We've got so many things screaming for our attention, and it's like, how do we navigate that? What voice do we listen to? What inner conviction do we, an inner voice, or divine voice that we follow to navigate these things? And I think it's a very timely story of how do you stand up?
Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Yeah, yeah, and no great dance scenes like Swing Kids in this one.
No,
that's right. But so the interesting thing, I've always found that time period in Germany leading up to the rise of Hitler very interesting, because in hindsight, yeah, it is really clear. You go, oh, obviously these guys are bad. We know what they ended up doing, but at the time, they didn't really know. It was sort of a slow burn over a decade. And things building, and other threats in the world that were legitimate threats to Germany, with the Soviet Union. And you go, okay, how do you know? What was your, as you guys were making this film, and I know Matt wrote the script, we'll talk to him in a minute, but what was there sort of a guiding theme that you guys were trying to make sure came through every scene, and maybe not overtly, but just sort of underpinning to it thematically?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to one of the old, Christian hymns is, do what is right, let the consequence follow. And when you know something is right, making that stand. And what we kind of hope from this is, when we all may not have to put our life on the line, but we hope teenagers see this and they get the courage to stand up for that kid that's getting picked on at school.
Yeah.
And not, it's easy to just kind of, turn our head or, drop it down, look at the desk. But there's a lot of ways we can make a stand. It may not be against the fascist regime, but daily there's ways that we can make a stand in our own lives for good, for righteousness, for, just for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, and okay, I got a couple of production nerd questions, because you guys
Bring it on.
You shot this in Lithuania? Is that where it was?
Lithuania, yeah.
How did you figure that out? Because I mean, it's interesting to get that kind of look, and I know we can do a lot, fake a lot these days with computers and the AI and stuff, but to get a really rich look like that, do you search all over the world for that kind of thing?
Yeah, that was important to us starting out. Obviously, we wanted to tell a story that honored the memory of these three boys and what they did, and being true to that, not sensationalize it, but really have it feel grounded in character. And part of that is having the environment, having the setting
Yeah.
realistic and
Yeah.
real. And so, yes, we scouted Romania, Poland, Hungary, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania is where we ended up. And it's interesting, we actually, over this process, ended up shooting two other pictures in Lithuania before we finally shot this one.
Really?
And Lithuania has an incredible crew base, amazing technicians and artisans.
Huh.
We, on each of these films that we shot there, we only took over with us a cinematographer, and on two of them, we took over our sound mixer, and then the directors and producers. Everyone else was from Lithuania. And I mean, you can see the level of production design and the costuming, and then obviously the locations, having practical locations, you know, where the paint has been peeling and repainted for, you know, centuries. And the stones in the road, there are cobblestones, and there's just this, the textures are so real that yeah, you can do that on a back lot, but it never has quite the same feel.
Yeah, no, I mean it takes you to Nazi Germany. I mean it's
Yeah.
an amazing thing. I love it. Are you happy with the end product?
Oh, yes. So happy. I'll tell you what, we still pinch ourselves. Like I said, it's been 20 years in the making, and we shot it beginning in April, end of April in 2024, and finished 10 weeks later. It was a 10-week shoot. And once that was done and we're home, and we're just like, it's in the can. This isn't us trying to, get investors on board with our dream and what this is going to be. It's just like, we've done it. We've got this thing. Yeah, we still have to edit. We still have all the post-production, but it's finished. And it is so good. I mean, it just, and I'm not saying that in any bragging way. It's just the story is rich. The performances are so good. Locations, everything really came together in concert, and that's what you hope for. Filmmaking's a collaboration.
Well, and you know enough. I mean, there's always post, and that's a huge thing. But you know enough to know when you come off a shoot how you feel, and so that's exciting. That you're excited. But you've done some screenings now. What are some of the audience reactions?
They've been really good, and people. You worry they're just gonna, oh yeah, great, I loved it. But it genuinely, I think people are really moved. And the comment that we keep getting is, this is so timely. We need this right now. We need a story of standing up. And, one of the things that was important to us in making this was not to, create a film that leaned right or left, but it's a story that it's universal of, doing what's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we hope comes through, and that people, wherever you may be, can find something that speaks to them and gives them the courage to, to stand, to do what they feel in their hearts they should do.
Yeah. I've sat through a lot of screenings, other people's work, obviously, but I like to sit and face and watch the audience. Do you watch the audience in your screenings?
Yeah. You listen for those moments where they got it.
Yeah.
Oh, they were moved by this, or they laughed at this. And what's really fun is when they respond to something that you didn't anticipate. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful film. I'm very excited for you. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to the audience today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Randy.
All right. This is the website. It is angel.com. Truth and Treason. You can go find out information. Again, it opens up on Friday, October 17th. Check it out. And now, Matt Whitaker, writer and director, joins us. Matt, welcome to Life Today Live. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Randy. It's good to be here.
So, I mean, I'm guessing that we're a long way from the 2002 PBS documentary. You're pretty excited to see this in the form that it's at, coming to the big screen?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a journey. This story, when we were doing the documentary back in, like you said, 2002, story sank deep for me. Frankly, I just couldn't get it out of my system. And so even way back then, 2002, started writing a script for a feature film. And it's been an incredible journey to get here, but here we are, 23 years later. and that story is coming out in theaters. Amazing.
Yeah. So when you look at the production, whether it's in production or now that it's finished and you're looking back at it, what are some of the things that you look at and go, wow, that actually worked? I mean, acting, sets, just the whole plot line. What is there anything that you're particularly proud of in a good way?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say first and foremost, it is the performances, these actors, and especially these young actors that are playing, teenage boys.
Hmm.
And the lead actor who plays our lead character, who plays Helmut Hubner, our lead actor, a young British actor named Ewan Horrocks, just an incredible performance. And then also the actor who plays the Gestapo, the Gestapo, the bad guy, if you
Hmm.
will,
Hmm.
Rupert Evans. Just again, these incredible British cast that just brought it every single day. And when I look at what it looks like up on the big screen, yeah, that's one of those where it's like, oh man, it worked. And to hear them speaking lines that I and my writing partner wrote,
Yeah.
and to hear, see people around me in a theater feel it and
Mm.
react to it. Oh my gosh, that's it's just incredible.
No, I'm a little jealous, I have to admit. Why are there? It seems like there's a higher percentage of British actors who are really good, just from a small place than the rest of the world. And I don't expect you to be able to answer that, but man, there's some really good talent over there.
There is, and I'll tell you one, because we knew we were going to be, the leading roles. The four boys are all supposed to be boys, basically in their teenage years.
Yeah.
So we knew we were going to be casting young actors. The acting system, the way it's set up in Great Britain is that they have, if kids are interested in acting and drama, they're in drama schools from like the age of 6.
Wow.
So by the time you're auditioning actors who are in their teens or early 20s, they've been studying Shakespeare, for more than
Hmm.
10 years. They've been in performances. They've played King Lear in some little, youth version of that play. So when they come in, they bring so much experience, even as a young, teenage actor, and it just comes across in spades in this film.
Yeah.
You see young actors just killing it.
I love it. A bunch of young Kenneth Branaghs. But the thing is, even though they're doing stage, they're not stagey on screen. They know the screen aspect of it too, which is
Yeah,
really impressive. Anyway,
yeah.
so you mentioned the bad guys, right? And really, I mean, this film. I mean, it's just one of the darkest chapters in modern history.
Yeah.
What was it like? I mean, having Nazis on your set. You know what I mean? Was that a little bit of a challenge as far as just the crew, or is it just everybody understands that it's just acting? I'm just really been always curious about those types of films with such a weighty subject matter.
Yeah, there's a tendency, I think, that you kind of get used to it. Oh, there's the swastika and
Hmm.
there's these guys in uniform and the playing Nazis and stuff like that. It was really important to me as we were shooting that those things never were taken lightly. If we had somebody in a scene that was doing, the Hitler salute, which is just such an ugly, ugly symbol,
Yeah.
we always were very, very, we always stressed, like, look, this is something we're only doing it in the take. We're not doing it in rehearsals.
Hmm.
This was an
Hmm.
ugly, ugly period of history. And even though we have to reenact it, um, it's not something that we're going to take lightly or become blasé about. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. Is there anything that was hard to direct?
Yeah. Without giving away spoilers,
Yeah. Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
there were moments of, throughout this film, the way we've told this story, there's not a word of profanity in it. Of course, there's no sex or nudity, but there is some violence because this was Nazi Germany, and so to shoot some of those scenes where we see a young man being interrogated and being beaten for telling the truth. Those were hard to shoot. It was a really intense process with the actors. It was hard for the actor portraying the Gestapo agent
Oh, wow.
to do that. Of course, they were all very precisely choreographed in how we did that, so that no one was ever in real danger. But it sure looks that way on the screen, and those were challenging to shoot.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Was there anything that was particularly fun? I mean, I know it was all fun. I know it was all fun, but were there any where everybody felt good at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question because somebody asked me recently, here's this World War II movie, and they said it's Schindler's List meets, and I said Dead Poet Society. These are teenage boys, man. These were boys that were having fun even in Nazi Germany. So actually the very first scene in the film is our four boys standing on the edge of a bridge, daring each other to jump way down into the water and trying to find their courage. And that was so much fun to shoot. It's such a fun scene because yes, the story takes a turn, but it was important for all of us to remember that hey, these were teenagers and they had, Helmut had a crush on a girl at work and these were boys just trying to be boys until they couldn't anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you love that period. I love to study. I don't say I love the time. I think it's fascinating in the 1930s, before the war broke out, because of the social and cultural underpinnings, the groupthink that was going on, the demonization of certain people. And actually, you had the communists who were a real threat and the Nazis who were standing up to them. And so people went, okay, lesser evil kind of argument.
Yep.
I don't know. What are your thoughts when you look at sort of that time period, whether isolated or even how some things kind of repeat themselves?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, 20 plus years ago when we started the effort to tell this story cinematically, we felt like, man, the time sure is right for this. I'll tell you what, today, this week, someone, a story about a kid who uses the power of the spoken and written word to stand up for truth.
Yeah.
A kid who'd been inundated his whole life with propaganda. And then hears the truth for the first time and just recognizes it for what it is, and then takes that next step to share it, to share the truth, to get the word out there, knowing that he's putting his life at risk to do that. I think it's a very, very timely film.
Yeah, it always is in a sense because of the truth, right? Truth and treason. The truth is timeless, and I don't know. I love the packaging in a well done film. So that is always, I appreciate that. Okay, I'll quit gushing about it because
thank you.
I really like what you guys have done. So this is the film. It's Truth and Treason. Again, it opens up this Friday in theaters. And trust me, there's some movies that I'm like, I'll wait till it goes to whatever. In this case, it'd be the Angel app, I guess. Don't wait. This is one you want to see and hear and feel in the movie theater. So don't miss that opportunity. Matthew, as the writer and director, and this has been your passion for decades now, I don't know. What would you tell people, potential audience, that I don't know, not just make them go to the movie. You're not trying to sell it, but just from the heart, I guess. What do your audiences need to hear from you?
I hope, of course, people are going to take what messages are important to them from it, and I think those are there. But at the end of the day, and for me at the very beginning of the day, this is an incredibly entertaining story. It's an incredibly moving story. Having watched it in screenings with audience members and hear people laughing and then weeping, sitting all around me, what I hope people will take away from it is maybe asking themselves the question that I've been asking myself since I discovered this story, which is, what would I have done? And what will I do now? If people can walk out feeling that, then I think that we've succeeded.
Yeah, it's easy to say what I would have done, but yet we don't do what we should be doing now. So yeah, two-part question and very pertinent. Thank you, man. Great talking to you. And again, congratulations on a beautiful film.
Thank you, Randy. That means a lot to me. Thanks very much.
Appreciate you guys out there watching. You better hit share and hit it now because, and by the way, if you're catching this after the movie's come and gone, go to the Angel app. There it is, angel.com. They've got a lot of good films. But man, if you're if you're lucky enough to get the behind the scenes, now you know you need to be in the theaters this Friday, October 17th.
October 17th.
October 17th. There we go. And I hope you guys get a good push in theaters, because I know it just helps support filmmakers like yourself in making more great films like this. So
that's right. And opening weekend in theaters is everything. So just getting people out there, supporting it those first 2 or 3 days that it's there, man.
Yeah. So you're not just getting a great film, by the way, if you're watching. You're not just getting a great film. You're supporting the making of more great films like this. So there you go. That's as much as I can say, because it's important, and I love the art, and I love the message. So thank all of you guys out there for watching. Hit the share button. If you didn't like, follow, or subscribe to Life Today TV, please do that. Get to theaters, Truth and Treason, this Friday.
Believe on the God who for Christ's sake justifies the ungodly.